By and large, what we will see is the bodily appearance of the person from the D1 and the D9. And what Parashara talked about, we talked about this mantra previously also. I'll just touch upon that. And we will talk about the characteristics of the person, and then the general results that you will have if a planet is placed in the Aries in both these signs, D1 and D9. If you have a planet, that means either it is Ashwini Pada 1, or you can say it is D1 in the D1 in the, it's in the Aries in the D1, also Aries in the D9. Both would mean the same thing. Ashwini Pada is the only thing where it can be both in the Aries, right? In the D1 and the D9. And then different lords being placed in the Ashwini Pada 1, what results will you get? And Navadurgas and also Navanarasimhas, we will talk about them. And we will also talk about the D3 deity and the D9 deity. We also will talk about the Karma Vipak Samhita, the story being given in the Ashwini Pada 1. We'll talk about that and the understanding that we will have after we have the story. And we also will talk about a few remedies that can be done by anyone sitting home, right? My request is, please watch Ashwini video before coming into the Padas videos. It is important to know what the Nakshatra is overall offering of the Nakshatra, right? And then after having listened to it, let's take 1 quarter each a week. So we are talking about Ashwini Pada 1, the quarter 1 of Ashwini. So with the mantra of Ashwini is, this is the mantra, Ashwinor Ashwayujoh Gramaha Parastat Sena Avastat. This is the mantra that we have talked about. I'm splitting this mantra into 4 words. Each mantra can be split like this. If you know all the mantras, you can do it yourself. I'm just removing this Parastat, this word, and Avastat, the other word, which is common across all the nakshatras. Okay, I'm removing these 2 words and trying to place them one after the other to represent each pada. So Ashwino, the word Ashwino would represent the pada 1, Ashwayuja will represent the pada 2, Gramaha would represent the pada 3, and Sena would represent the pada 4. This is what is all about the padas. Today we'll talk about the pada 1. The pada 1 will run from 0 degrees to 3 degree 20 minutes in the Aries sign. And this is the word Ashwinor. It's ruled by Mars in D1 as the sign lord. It's also ruled by Mars in the D9. So this is a Vargottama sign, wherein the D1, if a planet is in Ashwini first pada, it will be in Aries sign in the D1. It will be also in the Aries sign in the D9. So we will talk about that today. So the characteristics of the person, the RAM. All right, so everybody knows that the D1 is Mesha or the Aries, and also the D9 is again the Mesha or the Aries. So you have the ram or the goat that we call usually a goat or the sheep, the ram thing, which is the sign of the Aries, will dominate. Look at the usual goat thing where we get to see it. Goat always used to have a small beard at the chin. At the chin level, it has a beard thing, small beard. That is how it is. So the person, first thing that you look at the Ashwini Pada 1 is if the Lagna Lord is placed in Ashwini Pada 1, importantly that. Result comes from that. Lagna Lord being in Ashwini Pada 1 or Lagna Cusp is in Ashwini Pada 1. Both cases, it will work. Okay, so you can actually add up the physical characteristics just looking at the D9 also. Okay, we've talked about the physical characteristics using D9 and D30 at one point in time. Now we are looking at just using the D9. We can understand the physical characteristics using the cusp and the Lord, the first Lord in the Navamsha, right? Both of these things will tell you. If either of these are in the Ashwini first pada, that is what we are talking about now. Give me a second. Okay. So the nose of the mesha, or the goat or the ram that we are talking about, it's not a very attractive one. Either it is a very small one, or the nose is invisible, or the nose is actually damaged. The nose is not visible. You can see it here. Humans would have a protruded nose usually. A flat nose is usually, not found very beautiful, or things like that. So not a very attractive nose is what you can say. The beard or chin, I mean, you can have an extended face as if somebody has pulled up his chin. You can have such a kind of a thing when your Aries is very prominent, when your Ashwini is very prominent, right? And they are big achievers. They also have an oval shaped face. They're not round faced, but it is usually oval shaped, wherein the face looks a little stretched vertically. And somebody, if somebody pulls off your chin a little longer, it will be stretched like, right? So it may look like that. Or an unkempt beard, or a scraggly appearing beard. These are those characteristics that you can see in the person, especially during the young age, right? The boys that they don't shave regularly, the 15 to 17-year-old boys, you will get to see that they are growing a beard at the chin level, not on their, what do you call these? Cheeks, right? Not on their cheeks. Much of the hair is not on the cheeks, but at the chin level, right? And mostly interested in hiking, because these are Himalayan goats, and the Himalayan goats are, actually looking at food constantly, because goats eat a lot of food. Goats and sheep are constantly eating. Still, then they maintain a huge, very good physique, okay, because it's a fire sign in both the D1 and the D9. The physique is a lot thinner. However, they may have a small tummy when they age, like over 40, 45. They may build a very small tummy, but usually they are thin and tall, and always looking at adventure or hiking, mountaineering, sports activities, or physical work, something that involves the bodily movements, too much of bodily movements, right? Either they are running, or quick actions, because Aries is quick, and in both the places it is Aries. The person has high risk taking abilities, not enough hair on the head, because the sun exalts here in both the places. Maybe they're bald headed, or they want to keep shorter hair. Generally good health, unless the Gandantas are dominating. That means, Gandantas are like, your Lagna, your moon, your sun, Lagna Lord dispositor. Look at all these things: Lagna cusp, sun, moon, Lagna Lord dispositor. 5 things. If all of them are either in the 29th degree end or the 0 degree start, all of them should be, then it means that there is not enough good health or not enough life, right? The life can be a problem, or there are too many ups and downs in the life. All 3 can be possible. So one is the health is not great, or the lifespan is not enough, or the job that he is doing, or the career that he is in, it is not a very stable one. All 3 are possible, right? How do you decide what is not right? Based on the D9 thing, and also the D10 thing, you will know. I mean, I'm not saying please talk about the death of a person. Please never do that. I used to do it long back. Every time, the first thing that I used to do is calculate the age of the person. And please don't do it. Okay, it will actually bring in a lot of depression, right? So if you're very good at dealing with depression, that's fine. Otherwise, it will lead into unnecessary depression. All right. So tall body, long shoulders, or sometimes short of shoulders also, especially if Mercury is dominating, then you may have shorter shoulders. Otherwise, if just the Ashwini is dominating, then you have longer shoulders. My thing is, if you put planets into the Navamshas, then it will be slightly different, but you have to start somewhere, right? So you're starting to write alphabets now, and then slowly words, and then sentences will come. I know people will quickly jump in and say, look, I am an Aries person, both in the Lagna, and also my Lagna Lord is in the Aries, or the dispositor in the Aries, but I'm very fat, or none of these descriptions are matching. Can be possible. The planets can modify them, but you have to start somewhere, right? This is what is the description given for generic Aries thing, the plain thing, right? And the Lagna Lord, unaspected thing, you will generally have this. Most of the times, 90% of the times, these will match. 5%, yes, they will still fail because there are either the aspects or the planets that are slightly modifying them. I know I have not talked about much of the planets at all in the Navamsha, especially. I will talk about them eventually. So you have to wait for some time. I will definitely give them. However, I've just told right enough, Mercury can bring in little smaller shoulders. Otherwise, usually Aries people are having big shoulders, right? Long shoulders or long hands. We have talked about this one, this particular shloka that is given in the BPHS, describing the Rashis, right? We have Raktavarno Bruhat Gatras Chatuspadas Trivikrami Purvavasi Nripagnati Shailachari Rajoguni and Prushtodagi Pavakicha Mesharashi Kujadipaha. This is what we have. We have talked previously also about these Rashis, and we got these descriptions before. So I'm not explaining them in full this thing, but a few things I want to highlight upon is that this is applicable for all of the things. I mean, it's just not for the Ashwini first pada, but any planet that falls in D9 in the Aries. Okay, so the thing is, look at this. Rajoguni is one thing. So Rajoguni would mean earning money, good for money, right? This is a money making thing. So Aries is Rajoguni. It means that Rajo means Rajas. That means the Rajas will have it, the Kshatriyas will have it, wherein you are fighting for money, or you are struggling for money, or you are working for money. You can call it the way you want it. Parashara has simply said, this statement has to be clearly understood. In about at least 5,000 years ago, Parashara meant planets or any Rashi for that matter is ruled by planet. So in the Navamsha, planets falling in the Rashis ruled by Moon, Jupiter, Mercury, Venus. These are good because they are benefics. Rashis ruled by Mars and Saturn are difficult, or they are harbingers of difficulties, right? Now, you may say, look, it means that it is a difficulty. I would rather say more is the difficulty, more is the reward. You look at any job, a person who takes the biggest risk gets high reward. Parashara kind of time he was living in, most of the horoscopes are written with exact time only for kings and sons of their kings. Okay, sons of their kings. A king's son, how would he be? He would always enjoy luxuries, right? If a king's son, shows struggle, what does it mean? The king is going to lose power, right? The king, if the king is powerful and if he holds the kingdom with him, why does the king's son has to struggle, right? Have this in mind. Now it will be clear why Parashara said that. It means that a person is struggling. Now we are all middle class people, or lower middle class people, or upper middle class people. None of the people who come to us are very extremely rich people. Okay, in generic senses. So for a general middle class man, if you have planets in the Aries, it means that he has struggled in his life to excel. And at the end, there is, there is the success achieved, right? So if a poor man has this combination, it is good. If a person who wants to excel has this combination, it is very good, because tougher the situation is, there is a chance that you are going to excel. If you are sitting comfortably and not spending enough time on career, your career is not going to last long. You have to understand these things carefully. Otherwise, what you will think is, oh no, so many difficulties are there in life, and you will become like a traditional astrologer wherein none of the results will match. Okay, this is the biggest problem most of the astrologers are making, wherein they are decoding the shloka is very correct that Parashara said, but you need to understand the context of what Parashara meant. Parashara meant it for kings, right? You have to look at it in this angle. Hope I made some sense. You're trying to go in the correct direction. So if it shows, if a poor person has all the planets in very comfortable positions, what does it mean? He has compromised with his life and said, look, I'm not looking at improvements. I'm pretty happy with my life, and I will, live all my life poor, and I will die all my life poor. That's his choice. I'm not saying he should definitely improve or do something. When you have got used to the comfort zones, you do not want to come out of them. That is the challenge. If all your planets are in very good navamshas ruled by the moon, Mercury, Jupiter, and all that, and all your planets are in very good positions, it is very difficult for you to leave comforts and excel in life. Because if you have to excel in life, you have to face challenges. Without facing challenges, you cannot excel in life. For middle class people, today the world has changed. Everybody has a horoscope, everybody has a jataka, right? So we are all middle class people. No more kings exist now. All right. So the dharma pada, the nakshatra padas are divided into 4 parts. So each nakshatra has 4 parts, and all the 4 padas, we call them with the purusharthas. Okay, purusharthas. The purusharthas are dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. These are the 4 purusharthas, and all the 4 purusharthas are linked to the 4 padas of nakshatras. So all the nakshatras, 27 nakshatras, the first pada is the dharma pada. What does dharma pada means? What does dharma means is, dharma doesn't mean it's a religion. Please don't think worship of a god or worship of Vedic deities would mean dharma, or donating money to people in need is dharma. No, actually the real meaning of dharma is kartavya. That means what has to be done by a person in a situation. Okay, you are a husband. What is the kartavya? You have to look after your wife and your kids. This is the kartavya. You are a son. You have to look after your parents. These are basic kartavyas laid down. So as long as you are doing that, the pada is going to give good result. Or the person is constantly trying to follow rules, follow the rules or make the rules. Let us suppose a person is a quality control person, right? If the person is working in a quality control department, what the quality control person will do? He will lay down rules and try to make standard operating procedures, and he will try to impose all of those procedures on the people who are working in the industry, right, in the company. So this also is the dharma, right? Dharma would loosely translate to that thing. And this is a Vargotama. This is because Vargotama means having the same Rashi in the D1 and the D9. So usually people say, attribute that Vargotama planets will give good results. I again will tell you that Vargotama planets, I don't deny they will give good results. Yes, 50% correct. But what matters most is the lagna. Use the lagna to understand, depending on the dasha, whether the planet is giving a positive result or a negative result. Sometimes it may so happen that a negative result is coming because a positive result has to be delivered maybe 10 years later. I mean, for example, like we often see in the movies, right? What happens? The person loses a job. He tries to do something else, and he sets up a business. Because he lost a job, he sets up a business, and after 10 years, he is one of the richest people in the town, right? This happens to people, right? So the end result and what happens next will depend on a lot of things. So had the person not lost the job, he would have never tried a business and he would never excel, right? So a loss or a bad result may be for the person to excel on a later date as well. Those things as well can be summed up and clearly judged. They can also be understood. So the third degree is the exaltation degree of the moon. Don't think in the Mesha or the Aries moon is getting exalted. I know it exalts in the Taurus, but wherever in the whole 360-degree chart, wherever there is the third degree, between the second degree onwards to the third degree, that is where the moon exalts. So whenever a planet sits in that particular degree, it is controlled by moon, or position of moon, or the kind of moon that you would use in your daily life will impact that planet, right? Kind of moon means moon is your thoughts, right? Moon is the manas. Moon is your thought process. So the kind of thought process that you have in your mind is going to affect that planet, right? So whenever a planet is between 2 and 3 degrees in any Rashi, it is controlled by moon, because that is where the moon exalts. Okay. A simpler remedy is, if you know Krishna, the puja to Krishna is one of those remedies that you can look for in the as a simple remedy, right? And then you have these two Ashwins, right? We have talked about these two people, the Ashwins, the Dasra and the Nasatya, in the Ashwini star, right? The 27 nakshatras and 4 padas each of the nakshatra has got. When you multiply 27 into 4, you will get 108 padas. Each pada has a name. Like this, you have the name as Taskaramsha. Taskara Amsha. Taskara means a thief. Amsha means the part. So this part is ruled by thieves. What does it mean? The person is going to become a big thief. Can we say something like this? No, it doesn't mean that. What it means is the person will gain power and position, right? Because power and position have to be stolen. Certain positions are stolen, right? That because let's suppose you have accountants. If you want to count number of accountants in India, right? You will get in crores, right? You will get in millions. Millions of accountants will be there in India, right? But how many prime ministers do we have? We have only one. If somebody else has to become a prime minister, what happens? The prime minister's power is stolen by somebody else, right? So it is going to give positions or powers wherein just one position exists and this person is going there, right? And then Nakula and Sahadeva, the stories of these people can also be read because Dasra and Nasatya are born as Nakula and Sahadeva during the Mahabharata. You can read about them. They are very skillful people, right? I mean, not much we talk about these two people because they are last of the Pandavas and not much stories exist about them, but they are not reasonably, I would say one of the most talented people that this country has ever produced. Okay. We only talk about the Bhima, the Dharmaraja and the Arjuna, but these people are equally talented, right? So, and these people, the Ashwins, we talked about the story as well, wherein the Indra has denied entry for these Ashwins into the heaven, and they have tried a lot to finally reach the heaven. So please read that Ashwin story. I'm not repeating here. In the Ashwini Nakshatra, they have given the detailed story. So finally, the nectar, the celestial nectar, was consumed by these two people, the Ashwins, and they became the gods, or they became the devatas, right? So as they became the devatas, so the 33 gods that the Vedic people were following, these are the first. So that is why planet in the first pada of Ashwini, or planet in the Ashwini, will say that the person is going to excel in life. In the final stages, the person will be very renowned, right? You have a planet in the Ashwini, you're very blessed. If it happens to be the Lagna Lord or the 10th Lord or both, it means that the person is going to have huge fame with respect to the work that he is doing. The best example is the person who wrote our Jagannath Hora software, this man, PVR Narasimha Rao. Look at his horoscope. He has a Virgo Lagna, wherein the Mercury rules the 10th house and the first house, right? Virgo Lagna, Mercury rules the 10th house and the first house. Mercury is in the Ashwini first pada. You can see the person is world famous for the 8th house thing. The 8th house thing is the astrology, and Mercury is in the first pada of the Ashwini, and you will know how renowned he is, right? More planets in Ashwini are going to bring in more and more fame, right? So dual significations, because see, Ashwinor, the word Ashwinor means it's duality. There are two gods there. The Ashwins are twins. So there are dual significations, or many events happen like that simultaneously. Usually heat, fever, accidents are common in this first pada. The first pada is very quick. You know why? Because the Saturn debilitates here. In the D1, Saturn debilitates. Also in the D9, Saturn debilitates. This is the only nakshatra pada wherein the D1 also, in the D9 also, both the places Saturn debilitates. That is why this tries to work the quickest. And that is where the agony comes to the person. If a work is not happening, this person will feel so irritated, and he will say, look, why does it take yugas for you to complete a simple task? Okay, why do things not happen in a stipulated time? Why does it take so long for you, right? The person gets very irritated when timelines are not met. He wants things to happen in much quicker, even quicker, faster. Every day it has to be more faster, right? It's so difficult for people sometimes to adjust to the pace that he has, right? So it's very quick. And Ayurveda, healing, these are these two things, because sun exalts here. Sun is actually called as the Vaidya. The first Vaidya is the sun, right? Because the first doctor is the sun. If you have sunlight every day, sunlight works as a medicine, right? So sun is the first doctor. And then extremely skillful these people are, because sun exalts here, and sun represents the fifth house, and talents come from the fifth house. So the fifth lord being exalted here in the D1 and in the D9, that will make this pada extremely skillful. So any planet placed here in the first pada of the Ashwini, skill is what you will have from there. Depending on the positions, now you will be able to judge what kind of skills he has. You have to use the lordships and the positions both in the D1, in the D1 going into the D9. I will explain how to look at them. And this person is constantly ready to take initiatives, because see, look at the planet that is ruling in both the D1 and the D9. The ruling planet is Mars. Mars actually is a karka, or a significator for the third house, right? So initiatives is what you will get from the third house. And that's why Ashwini is very good to start a lot of things, right? Ashwini is extremely, what is that? Atur rehna. What is the right word for atur rehna?
Sir, eager.
Eager. Thank you for the word. Extremely eager to start the new things, right? Okay. Now look at how do we look at the results in the D9? This is an extremely important topic. Please concentrate on this. For the first time, I believe we are using positions, and we will use the positions of the D1, right? And consider Aries as a Lagna, right? And from there, we will try to see what happens when these planets go into the D9, right? Consider Aries as Lagna in the D1, irrespective of where your actual Lagna is, just to conceptualize this thing, to visualize what result you are expecting. Now you will see Aries as the Lagna in the D1 and see that the first and the eighth houses are ruled by Mars, which represents the self. Second, seventh houses are ruled by Venus, that represents the spouse, business partner, family. I just gave a description of each of the houses. I think everybody will know these significations. I'm not explaining them, they are on the screen. You can read them for yourself. Now, get into the D9 and see what is the position of that planet. Think it is the Lagna now, right? Now, the Mars gets in here. It's the Vargotama for the Mars. So Mars brings in good health. Mars brings in Vargotama is also a lucky thing because the person is a lot blessed or saved from issues. When you have Vargotama planets, you will see that saved from accidents or saved from difficulties, etc. Vargotama planets usually help there. However, they may not avoid the accident, but they will be saved from the accident with the Vargotama, right? So then is Venus with the Mars thing, right? Venus being placed in the Mars house, what it will do, it's a neutral or an equal. So the marriage is not either very great or not very bad. It is okay. Now you have to look for something else. It's not influencing much. And then the Mercury, right? The Mercury rules the third, sixth houses. Mercury rules the enemies, the ripus, the ripus, right? The Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsara, of which the Lobha is represented when the Mercury and the Mars are together. So the person can be a Lobha. Lobha means miser, not very interested in spending too much, right? Or why do you take the negative sense of it? It can be so that the person is focused on saving a lot and avoiding unnecessary expenditure. Because in today's world, especially, I mean, no offense to Americans or developed societies, there is a lot of wastage in the developed countries than in the underdeveloping places. You would see that a lot of food is wasted every day. I mean, in a survey, if you take, I mean, the kind of food that the America wastes probably in a day is enough for whole of the African continent to be fed all through the year, is what I heard somewhere. If the statistics are wrong, pardon me, but I'm trying to quantify. I mean, I'm only trying to exaggerate the number so that we get it right. So, I mean, never take anything on the binary level. Miser wouldn't mean that, you know, the world may still call him a miser, but he's saving it for his people. The world is not going to come back and help him if he's not saving money. Look at people who don't save money. What happens? Something strikes them. The world is going to laugh at them. Nobody's going to come and rescue, right? So Mercury, no debts, doesn't like to take debts, no diseases, especially because Mercury is an enemy. The sixth lord is an enemy. Third, sixth lords is an enemy. No debts, no diseases, no responsibilities. Usually no responsibilities are coming up. Okay. And in case if this happens to be like, you know, the sixth lord of the D1, the Lagna that you're taking here, because why we are taking Aries as the Lagna here? Because Ashwini falls in the Aries, in the D1. So we are making that as the Lagna and then looking it into the D9 for the result. If this happens to be a planet that exalts here, the sixth lord happens to be a planet exalts here, it means that all of these are multiplied. Debts, diseases, responsibilities, some or the other thing will come. Right? Hope you understood what I said. As I go further, you will understand. Please hold your horses. I know you will have questions. The fourth lord, moon, The native rushes through everything, dislikes sitting idle, or there is ill health to mother. Why am I attributing the ill health to mother? Because Moon and Mars are paraspara nichanathas. That means mutual debilitating lords. Moon debilitates in the Martian sign, Mars debilitates in the Moon sign. They are mutually debilitating each other, right? Because the D9 Lagna Lord, the Mars, debilitates in the fourth house of the D1. So there is a problem with the mother, there is ill health to mother, etc., etc. Right? Sun exalts here, the fifth lord. The children, the subordinates, etc., will excel, and it's good for love. But Sun is generally a loner, right? So you may have just one child, a male child, or a well-performing male child, not very well working or well-performing female child, etc. There are issues with nails and bones because this Saturn debilitates here. Saturn rules the bones and the nails. So the person may have issues with respect to bones, nails, poor nails, okay, and then maybe issues with the bones. Could be fractures, it could be pains in the joints, anything that relates to the bones. Jupiter is a friend, goes to faraway places in the future because he's the ninth and the 12th lords. Ninth is the future, 12th is the faraway place, right? Saturn falls because Saturn debilitates here. Saturn is the 10th and the 11th lord. What is important here is when you pick up the Navamsha Lagna, just see Navamsha Lagna in the sense Navamsa position of the planet. Just see from where the D1 is and what if that planet comes and, what if that lord comes in and falls here? As in, you're making the Ashwini as the Lagna, the Mars or the Aries as the Lagna in the D1. And you have seen that the 10th and the 11th houses are ruled by the Saturn, and that Saturn is having a fall here, is having a debility here. So now what you will understand is a job is promised, but a job is not given. Final moment. I think we have talked about this in the Ashwini, right? A final moment, the job is denied to the person. So the person got selected in the campus interview. They will say, look, this is December. Please come and join in the month of June, right? The next year, month of June, please come and join. Suddenly in the month of May, they will say, look, all the positions we are holding all the positions, all the letters are standing cancelled. So your position is null and void. We apologize very much for the inconvenience. You may have to look for a job elsewhere. This is what is the letter that he will receive after the job selection is done. And he would be happy that, look, I don't have to, this is my first campus interview. I got through. I left all other companies because this is the best company that I can join. So let me not go into any other campus interviews. Now, all the campus interviews are over. Everybody else who secured lower marks than me have all got jobs and positions. But I remained at the end and I'm not finding a job. Now, let me find another one. The same thing happens. And the third time, the person usually gets a job. Why is it happening for two times? Because it is Ashwinor. It is a dual nakshatra. Okay. There are two times this happens. If it doesn't happen in immediate succession, it means that once this happens, the person gets a job, and then maybe after 4 years or 5 years, there is a promotion that is being promised to the person. The manager walks up to him and tells him, look, I have recommended for the promotion. They said they're fine. The letter is going to come in the next 15 days. The letters come, the appraisals come, and after having seen it, the person will be shocked. He would say, look, why it has not come? Then the manager explains, look, something happened at the last moment. It is considered only for the next year. Over. Right? Now, I have taken the concept from the above thing and I have put it back once again into the lords. Okay. So what I have done now is you will look at the first lord in the D1 or the lords of the D1 being placed in Ashwini Pada 1. The first lord is going to bring in name and fame and dharma are enhanced, right? Or the person is focused on that. People talk about the native or he's renowned or will get complaints about him. I remember, let's suppose a school-going student is there. right? There is a parent-teacher meeting that happens. The parents are called upon maybe every 3 months or 6 months. When the parents walk in, the student is praised by the teachers and the principal. That is one possibility. The other one is there is a complaint from the class teacher saying, look, this guy does a lot of mischief in the class. So both ways the person is renowned in the class, right? So there is either a complaint or the person is doing very well. However, the person has some fame and name around him, right? And then separated from the family due to education, job, or adoption or marriage in case of second and the seventh lords, right? And the third lord, not enough cordial relationship with siblings, or the siblings are sickly, or they are far off, or there is excellent travels, there is high on courage. You know why there is high on courage? Because it's the Mars, and Mars has the third house significations. And high initiatives, quick in decision making. Why is the sibling sickly? Because the third and the sixth houses are ruled by the same planet. You have to see that the third and the sixth houses, in case of the D1, are being ruled by Mercury, and they are in an enemy house, right? In the Martian sign, back in the D9, they will be in the enemy house. So as we proceed to Ashwini Pada 2, you will have most of your doubts cleared. So you have to wait till the Ashwini Pada 2, that how this is working, you will get to know then. So what happens in case of Ashwini Pada 2 is the Mercury gets into the Taurus, right? The third lord, in case if we are talking, today we are now talking about the third lord, sixth lord, Mercury, that gets into Aries in the Navamsha. Because the Mercury and the Mars are not great friends, there is enmity between the siblings, or there is a very far off relation, or it's just a high by relationship, not much of a relationship between the siblings, or they both have a very different they both have a different lookout for the life, or their ideology for the life is very different. Okay, because Mars and the Mercury both are working on the third house. Mars would say it is about the courage and the physical strength. Mercury would say it's okay, it's courage. I don't deny courage, but it's about the timing. When are you launching something, and how brainy are you? Okay, that is what is going to make you excel or be successful. Mars will say exactly the opposite of it. No, you just have to be courageous, and you should have a lot of physical strength to get through the problems, and finally you'll be all right, right? So in case if it's the Venusian sign, and that means the Ashwini second pada, it gets into the Taurus. So Mercury gets into Taurus, will behave differently. The third lord will behave differently. So third lord in the Taurus sign, especially the Ashwini second pada, will behave differently. So with the padas, the results are going to change. So the first time we are using the lords. Till now we have been using only the dispositors. Now we will use lords in the padas, right? The fourth lord, comforts are good, but the person does not like comforts or sitting idle, or there is poor health for the mother. The mother has a poor health, or there is a bad relationship with mother. Mother constantly beats him, so he has complaints with the mother, especially in the childhood, right? Because mother is mother in the childhood, and the beating happens usually in the childhood, not much in the not much after the person has attained age, right? And lands, homes, vehicles are all okay, because it's the Aries, it's a Vargotama. So the person is usually blessed of all these things. Usually, usual thing is doesn't affect much on this side, but the mother may have issues. Either relationship with the mother is bad, or the mother has some poor health, etc. Fond of driving, and there can be accidents as well, because the fourth lord is, as I said, the moon debilitates in the Martian house, and the Mars debilitates in the moon thing. And the fifth lord, excellent subordinates. It's not very good for love, because sun doesn't wait, right? Sun is a person who does not want to wait. In case of love, let's suppose you call her to a park, or an amusement park, or anywhere if you want to meet, you may have to wait for her. And sun doesn't want to wait for people. Sun is very strict. Sun would say you have to be on time dot, right? So maybe it's not very good for love is what I think. However, you have to look at so many things, because unless there is D9 being observed, you cannot conclude how is love and relationships are. So just by merely looking at the fifth house Lord being placed here, not very good for love. So what can be the argument there? You're not showing up on time. Those kind of the arguments that may come with the lover, right? There's only one male child or no female children, or not very well performing female children, or there can be issues of health for female children, etc., uh, can be predicted, because Sun is a man, Mars is a man, so it predominantly shows masculine thing, the feminine struggles here. And now you have a disease. It's a disease-free thing, because the Mercury and the Mars are enemies to each other. Okay, so the Mercury and the Mars are enemies to each other, and there is quick recovery from the illnesses, because the Aries sign is very quick. It's debt-free, or the need for debts does not come. So what does the sixth lord placement show here? The person is trying to achieve things quicker. He is imposing quickness on everyone, because sixth lord also shows the routine. I have not written that. Okay, if we keep writing all the significations of the sixth house, then it would, one class is enough only for one house. You have to think over and write what is relevant. And as you look at horoscopes, you cannot just limit yourself here. You have to, work on all the significations that the sixth lord will offer, and then try to figure them out and put them in the right perspective, right? Seventh lord, spouse is an achiever academically. See, as people, if you try the seventh house, the fifth house, or the third house, each of these houses will represent people. For that matter, the sixth house represents the siblings of the mother. These people will be very successful people. You are looking at successful people who have fame, who have name at an age which is like over 45 or so. These people are extremely successful because they have been struggling all through their life during the early 20s. From the early 20s till 45, they are very struggling, and they are trying to make their ends meet. Because of that struggle, because of that thing, they have learned a lot of things in life that made them excel in their life, and ultimately they have reached their goal of having the name and fame for them. So you see, I'm talking about spouse here. So the person is an achiever. He's academically excellent because he's struggled for it. He has spent time to read. And these people are, believe me, they're huge hard workers. Ashwini is extremely hardworking people, right? Successful, intelligent. Marriage is neutral and depends on family, because Venus also rules the second house when counted from Ashwini in the D1, right? So marriage will depend on that. Depending on the family the person has, both from the wife's side and his side, the success will be. Eighth lord, long life generally, but delay is in professional progress. Eighth lord can show delays, and Saturn is the cause for delay. Everybody knows that. Saturn debilitates here, both in the D1 and the D9. So eighth, Saturn is also the karma karka, or the job karka, right? So eighth house can also show profession delays. So the person is unable to find a job. He's struggling for it in the initial days, right? He's extremely talented, but job is not coming. And he keeps complaining, look, it is already 10 days now. I've been trying 15 days now. Usually you will see that, look, I've been trying for 6 months, 8 months. This is the usual statement. But this guy will keep saying, look, 10 days I've been applying. 15 days I've been applying. He'll keep counting hours and days and minutes, because he's looking at securing a job in minutes, right? Ninth lord, father is successful professionally and his job involves traveling. Why am I saying that? Because the ninth house is ruled by Jupiter. So is the 12th house. The 12th house and the ninth house, both are ruled by Jupiter. Where are we calculating these things from? We are calculating these things from the D1. Okay. Assuming that Ashwini is the Lagna or Aries is the Lagna. We have to assume Aries is the Lagna, right? To understand what you will get as a result for Ashwini Pada 1, right? Now, 10th Lord, professional life will be slow initially. Promised job or contract will be declined in the last moment. Highly successful, but success gets delayed. And not cordial relationships with the siblings or sickly siblings or siblings are far off. It's just like the third house, because the 11th Lord is also the Saturn, the same result we are getting. 12th Lord, very careful about expenses, as I said, okay, because it's the Jupiter. Is extremely careful about expenses, or very huge expenses can also be there. But the 12th Lord and the first Lord being in the Martian sign, I mean, both in the D1 and the D9, if the person has the Martian sign, the person is very frugal. He doesn't have expenses. I mean, he prefers simple living. Person doesn't want to spend too much because he thinks, but there is no need to show luxury. I don't think I need to show luxury. I'm happy living like this. Let me live like an early man, wherein, he didn't have much. He doesn't like a lot of refrigerated food. Okay. Doesn't like much of luxuries. He needs cars. I understand that, but not very expensive. Okay. Simple cars, frugal living. All right. But very interested in traveling. He would like to spend a lot of money on the traveling, the adventures, sports, etc. Okay. The other point is the Navadurgas. So we will see that, Shubham Alok, this man has made a lot of videos on this Navadurgas. I would say all the 9 Navadurgas he has explained well. You can read his video. The inspiration is that I have just taken the mantra of the Navadurga. So what does how do we use these Navadurgas is very simple. You have 9 padas in each Rashi. Let us suppose you take Aries in the D1, you have 4 padas of Ashwini, 4 padas of Bharani, 1 pada of Kritika. There are 9 padas. So all the 9 padas will have 9 Durgas, right? Each of the Durga has a name and it has a mantra. The mantra for the first Durga, that is this one, because the first pada of Ashwini is the first pada of the Navamsha, of the Aries, right? 4 padas of Ashwini, 4 padas of Bharani, Kritika 1 pada will make Aries. Now I am talking about the first pada in that. That is the Ashwini's first pada. That is Vande Vanchita Labhaya Chandrardra Krita Shekharam Vrusharudham Shuladharam Shailaputrin Yashaswinim. Okay. I can explain this whole thing to you, but it will take quite a long time. However, I would want you to focus on these words like the Yashashwini, right? Yashashvi means having name and fame. It is the same word in Telugu. It's the same word in Hindi. Most of the Indian language, Yashashvi. A lot of people name their children as well with Yashashvi. Yashash means name and fame, right? Vanchita labhaya, that means that you are desiring and that you are going to get, right? Vanchita labhaya, what you deserve is what you're going to get. Chandra ardha krita shekharam, the half moon is, the Devi has got the half moon overhead. And Vrusha arudham, look at this, this is the ox, the Nandi, the Vahana or the vehicle of this Mata is Vrusha, that means the Nandi, wherein Vrusha would always mean prosperity. Okay. Whenever you find this word Vrusha somewhere, and if you're trying to attribute it for Jyotish, have the meaning that you will get is prosperity. Most likely it attributes to money, and also the money that comes because everybody has good health and everybody has enough to eat and everybody is peaceful and not quarreling with the others. This is what Vrusha means. Okay. Because see, Vrusha is Vrishabha. The expectation is the second house. What do we expect from the second house? Happiness. Moon exalts there at the very start of it because person is going to be happy, right? He has enough resources to eat. Second house gives you resources. He has people around him. All his family is happy. If it's a mother, she has children. If it's a father, he has children. and then they are married off to good people. They have good livelihood. Everybody meets up in the afternoon. They have lunch and then sleep very nicely. Nobody has any jealousy issues, etc. All this is represented by the Nandi, right? That is the inner meaning of what the Nandi is. Shuladharam, that means the angry aspect of the Mars thing. Okay, Shailaputri, this is the first avatar is called as the Shailaputri. If you visit places like the Vijayawada, wherein the Mata is for the Sharan Navratri, where we get in the Ashwi Jamasa before the Deepavali, the Dashara thing, right? All the 9 Durgas, the wherever the Durga temples are there, she will be, giving darshan to the public in these avatars all through the 10 days, right? The 9 Durgas will operate on the 9 days, and then on the Vijay Dashmi you will have the real Durga avatar, and then we also have. Okay, this can also be worked as a remedy if a planet in the Ashwini Nakshatra first pada is running. You can use this mantra, pray this, take this mantra and chant this for 9 times in a day after the bath. This is going to bring in some prosperity, happiness, and as I described all through for the Nandi. Okay, all those attributes you can look at. And then the other 9 things that you may have is, there are so many things that connect to 9. Actually, there can be Navabhaktas also. Navabhaktas, I thought of, including them as well, but it becomes longer and longer and longer. I wanted to keep it as short as possible, but somehow it did not happen. Navanarsimha, also the first Narsimha is the Jwala Narsimha. Eventually, what you will see is the Mars, the Aries, is the fire sign, and there is Jwala there. And same is the D9 also, it is Aries. So Jwala Narsimha will exactly aptly fit there. Hiranya Stamba Sambhute Prakhyata Paramatmane Prahladarti Moshe Jwala Narasimhaya Mangalam. You can also do this mantra, especially if there are career issues. Okay, this also will mean Hiranya Stamba Sambhute. That means somebody who is born of a golden pillar, right? And Prakhyata would also mean the same thing, name and fame. Paramatmane, Prahladarti Mushe, Jwala Narsimhaya Mangalam. It will take a long time if I keep explaining all this. However, with these 2 mantras, these are those things that you can decipher. The person is born in a well-to-do family. Okay, well-to-do family doesn't mean that he's an Ambani or an Adani or a Tesla man. No, I don't mean to say that. Well-to-do family is, I typically comment this in the Telugu saying, cinema kashta. That means it doesn't, look at olden movies of the 80s. The hero has a mother, father is not there, mother doesn't have food to eat. He has a sister to get married. There is dowry system in India. They don't have a proper livelihood. The mother is struggling to find food. Such things are not there. Okay, the person has a mother, person has a father has enough income to feed the family. They are not having any difficulties as to raise this child. Okay, this is what you can understand from well-to-do. Because when I write these statements, right, people come back and say, sir, I am born in Ashwini Nakshatra Pada 1, but I am not rich, sir. My father is not rich. I never meant rich. Okay, well-to-do in Indian context would mean a middle class father where he has a stable job and he is able to fund his child's education. Like you take this man, what is this man? Google Pichai, Sundar Pichai, right? So his father was also a simple job holder wherein he could fund his education, right? So such a kind of a person. But what if your father himself is not there, and your mother is there? And such kind of things are not there in this Ashwini first Charana. That's what I'm trying to say. Works on name or fame. So the person is constantly focused on name or fame, trying to help others, and he's prosperous. He tries to help subordinates. He is focused on dharma or kartavya. Kartavya means what has to be done, right? So if there are bad results from Ashwini Nakshatra first pada, it means that the person is not doing what he is supposed to do. So you tell him you do not have to worship or do any pujas or spend lakhs of rupees on the remedies. The first thing is try to understand what the problem is and try to give him a remedy of is, boss, go back and do what has to be done. Okay. Uh, I know it is easy saying, but you have to find out what has to be done in the chart. Okay. Oh, then comes the deities. The deities are the D3 deities and the D9 deities. You see, D3 deities. See, if you see D9, right, the Navamsha, the first thing is that comes as a part of the Rashi is the D3, the Drekana. See, each Rashi is how many degrees? 30 degrees. Cut it into three parts. It is very easy to cut it because 30 degrees divided by 3, 10 degree each will make three parts. Now, each of these three parts, cut it again into three parts, once again, each of them. So that is the Navamsha. Each part that is cut here, that makes the first 10 degrees, second 10 degrees, and the final 10 degrees are given here. These are called as the Drekana deities. The Drekana deities are Narada, Agastya, and then you have Durvasa. Right? These are the deities. And then under the Narada, there are Deva, Manusha, and Rakshasa. Again, under this, you have Deva, Manusha, and Rakshasa. Under this also, you have Deva and Manusha and Rakshasa. So the deity for, particularly for Ashwini Nakshatra Pada 1 is Narada under, it is the Narada Drekana under which the Navamsha is Deva Navamsha. This is how you have to read it. Okay. What does Narada do? You know what Narada does? Narada is a divine messenger. He does a lot of things for the good to win. Sometimes he would do a lot of mischief for the good to win. He will mislead the Rakshasas, help the gods win. Okay, he's on the side of the Devatas, but he has very good cordial relationship with everyone. He will talk to Manushas, he will talk to Devatas, he will talk to Rakshasas. If you have read either Ramayana or the Mahabharata or any Purana, at least watched a few movies of the thing, you will see that Narada is a Triloka Sanchari. That means somebody who walks up to the underworld where the Rakshasas live, the world in which we live, the worlds that are above us, which are the Devatas. Right? All three places he has very good contacts and very good relationships. For example, he was talking to both the Ravana and also the Rama and also the Devatas like the Indra while the Ramayana was happening. Right? You will see a lot of examples of him. So the person becomes a very good talker. The person has a very good understanding of the past, the present, and the future. He has a lot of, he is interested in music because it's a Devagana. I've put in the interest in music as well. And he's the instigator of Leela. That means sometimes little mischievous, but it is because the things have to move in the right direction. That is why Narada is like that. And knower of the past, present, and the future, bringer of dharma. And Narada actually helped every time the Devatas, one or the other way. Although temporarily it may seem that he's helping the Rakshasas temporarily, but he is a person who has stayed more or less, unbiased, but ultimately always wanted the world to progress and a good world to be established, right? I'm not focusing much on these things, but rather there is also this Karma Vipaka Samhita, the story of the Karma Vipaka. I will also finish this very quickly. Okay, this will be published. This article will be published. Maybe it will take another week or 10 days for the first time to be published. Please wait till the time, but you can watch it from the YouTube also. The story of the Ashwini Pada 1, this is the Karma Vipaka Samhita. Anybody can get this online. You can read it online, available online, but the only challenge is this is available in Hindi only. as far as I know. Yesterday, somebody said it's also available in Telugu recently, or maybe it's there since long, but I have been reading this in Hindi for quite some time now. Okay, so I mean, it has a Sanskrit shloka at the top, and then you also have translation of the shloka in the Hindi. Both will help you. I have just got that story pasted here, translating it into English, and the concept is very simple. What is the problem with the nakshatra pada of the first pada of the nakshatra? Okay, if you are facing difficulties in this nakshatra pada, there is a story and it shows greed. Okay, and it shows greed of the person. So anything, because it's a rajoguni, right? Rajoguni is on the greed, and taskaramsha, that means taking away from somebody else. This is a taskaramsha, as I said. So taking away money of somebody else because of the greed, right? The biggest problem can be greed. So you have to address the greed. Not having greed, etc., is to be advised to the person. And then abuse of knowledge, I mean, not following the dharma, right? Abuse of knowledge means the person actually is a Brahmin. The story goes like this: there is a Brahmin man and he has a child and a wife. The Brahmin man leaves all the deeds that he has to do and does not do the Sandhya Vandana or the Vedic karmas. Instead, he becomes, an alcoholic or something like that, eats meats, etc. Doesn't follow his dharma. He has to feed his wife and children, doing some job or something that he has to make, which he did not do. And he has a friend, he has some gold, the friend has some gold. When the friend visited this Brahmin along with his kid, he felt very greed for the gold, killed the Brahmin and the son, and took away all the gold and spent it just like that. Okay, and some part of it he still donated in a temple for the good deeds, right? So there is some good thing also, and there are a lot of bad things. Okay, one thing I would want to tell all of you is that if you read Karma Vipak Samhita, all the 27 nakshatras, 4 padas, every pada has a story inside it, but all these stories will be like this: that what sins you must have committed so that you are actually having issues in this life. So do not think Ashwini first pada is bad, so it is because you have all bad results here. Intentionally, it is written in such a way that there are only bad results being portrayed here, so that you understand where from the issue is coming. Okay, and from there you will try to suggest a remedy for it. I think some part of the class are already aware about this, especially on the northern side of people. A lot of people know about Karma Vipaka. If they do not know, it's very easy. Just type Karma Vipaka Samhita PDF in the Google. You will get this. You can easily read it. And anyway, I'm displaying, for those who cannot understand Hindi, I'm displaying it here. You can please read this from here. Okay. In the next janma, what happened is, because he has killed the child and the friend that has visited the house, the person did not have children, right? So one is greed is a problem, not having children is a problem. Okay, these are the two things that you may face from the Ashwini Nakshatra. You know why not having children? Because see, sun is a loner. Sun cannot give you many children. Sun exalts here. Do not think the fifth lord is exalted. Oh no, we have got so many kids. No, sun being exalted shows few children, right? It doesn't show many children. In olden days, what people preferred is having at least 4 children. Okay, in today's context, it is a good thing. Okay, having 1 child or 2 child or limited number of children, because with the kind of school fees, etc., that we have in places like India, it is better to actually have only 1 child. All right. So the remedies are depending on the thing that you are in. I mean, the kind of caste you belong to. The Gayatri mantra, if you have the initiation, if you're thing supports it. Like if you're a Brahmin or a Kshatriya, and if you know, then please do the Gayatri mantra for 5 lakh times, right? 5 lakh is because the fifth Lord exalts here. And the other mantra is from the simple Rudra, the Rudra Dhyaya. Everybody knows this. Rudram. Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukami vibandhanaan mrutyor mukshiyamamrutat. Anybody knows, I think most of the people would know it. If you do not, please read the Rudram, the Namakam and the Chamakam. You have this mantra, very commonly chanted for issues of Saturn. Trayambakam yajamahe. As the name says, this belongs to the Trambakeshwara. This is in the Nashik. Okay, visiting there also will help, and chanting this mantra, Trayambakam Yajamahe mantra, for at least 5 lakh times, all through in one go. Okay, so it is good that you chant it for yourself. Find a day, take an off, chant it for yourself, do this thing. If you cannot do these things, there are also other way that you can do. Is the Karma Vipaka Samhita states that make an idol, make an idol of gold depicting the father and the son, okay, over the idol, and use this procedure. I mean, chant these mantras every day and have an abhisheka over it. Okay, and with the kind of gold prices that we have today, you can never make it. So the best thing is take a photo of Shiva, Parvati, and Ganpati. They will have the son and the father due. So have these mantras chanted. You can do a Shodasopachara if you know Shodasopachara puja, simple puja. It's available in Hindi or Telugu, all the languages these days. Just type Shodasopachara puja. It is available. Do that puja, and this can work as a remedy for the planets in the Ashwini Nakshatra Pada 1. There is more detailed explanation given in the Karma Vipak Samhita. If you want to, please read it. Go ahead and read it. However, don't be dejected thinking that, oh no, there is all negativity up here. No, it is not the negativity. It is about the remedial measure one has to follow just in case there are issues that are coming up from the Ashwini Nakshatra. Okay. More or less, I am done. I know you people have questions. I welcome questions. Any questions you have, please ask.